Hey everyone, I'm Case Aiken. Last time, I talked about how, in the wake of Crisis on Infinite Earths, that Superboy's removal from continuity left a void in the Legion. Well, Superboy wasn't the only Kryptonian whose absence had to be explained. See, his cousin, Supergirl, was another Superman analog and heavy hitter on the Legion. To fill her void, several characters were introduced, and one of which was Laurel Gand. As the name would suggest, Laurel was retroactively created to be a descendant of Lar Gand, best known as Mon-El, who I've talked about before, although in most timelines where Laurel existed, he was known as Valor. Like Lar Gand, she's a Daxamite, with all the powers and weaknesses that entails. Now, her first name, Laurel, is derived from Laurel Kent, a pre-crisis descendant of Superman who they then had to do some retcons with post-crisis. Frankly, I should probably talk about her next. When Laurel first showed up, it was the 5-year gap. She was presented in a post-apocalyptic design, as most of the team were at this point, wearing a leather ensemble with a red cape. Meanwhile, she was shown in flashbacks to have originally worn a distaff counterpart to Lars' traditional red costume with the blue cape. This character would go on to fill the role of Supergirl in all the stories set during the 5-year gap, including having a crossover with a time-lost Superman, a classic wink to his team-ups with the Legion from the past. Then, in this period leading up to the next major reboot, 0 Hour, again, things got more complicated. Laurel was presented as one of the SW6 Legionnaires, which was a group that was originally thought to be young clones of existing Legion members, but actually revealed to be versions of the characters plucked from earlier points in their history. This version of Laurel adopted the name Andromeda and took an orange outfit that would go on to be her signature look. Now, the original version of Laurel was presented as Supergirl as if she had gone through the 5-year gap where things had gone kind of awry. So she was a bit more serious and had seen some stuff. Meanwhile, the SW6 version, Andromeda, was a younger character who was a little less serious and a little bit more of a romantic. Post 0 Hour, as was the case with many of the SW6 Legionnaires, the newly rebooted Legion adopted their names and designs. So in this case, Laurel Gand became officially Andromeda. This one, however, was introduced as a member of the White Triangle cult, which was a group of Daxamite supremacists who saw their species as the superior race, which, when you consider how powerful they are, is hard to refute sometimes. But eventually this character got over her racism and joined a convent. Laurel Gand has been a part of several iterations of the Legion, including an appearance in the Superman the Animated Series episode New Kids in Town, where we got to see a flash forward to the Legion timeline. However, oftentimes she's been pushed aside to bring in more modern Supergirl characters, sometimes the Girl of Steel herself, sometimes others. I've always been a fan of Andromeda, however. I really like her orange outfit. It feels like its own style, rather than just being a Supergirl clone. It has the same logic that Laurel Kent's design had, where if you're invulnerable, you might not be as concerned about modesty. And the star pattern going on the black stripe was a really nice touch. And while she'll always feel kind of like an understudy to Supergirl, and probably not anyone's first choice for blonde-haired powerhouse that can rip apart a starship with her bare hands, I've always liked Andromeda. The Legion can always have more flying bricks, in my opinion, and Laurel Gand was defined enough to stand out. However, next time, I should probably talk about Laurel Kent, the actual descendant of Superman. But until then, stay super, man. Hey, and this is the part where I thank you for staying to the end of the video. I really appreciate all of the positive feedback we've been getting on these, so thank you. And please do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Also, if you're looking for more material, we've got a podcast that goes along with this. It's called Men of Steel. It's part of the Certain POV podcast network. You can find it at certainpov.com, along with tons of other great shows, so check all those out. And while you're there, find a link to our Discord server where you can come and interact with us directly. It's a really good community we're building there, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. But otherwise, have a great week.